Hey ghouls! Welcome to Ask the Disney Characters, episode 4, the Halloween special. Today's question will be, what is the scariest thing that happened during your story? Hey Alice, happy Halloween. So I was just wondering, what was the scariest thing that happened during your time in Wonderland?
Well, I'd have to say falling down a rabbit hole can be very scary because it's rather confusing. Well, you see, all of a sudden everything that's upside down is right side up, and contrary-wise, everything right side up is upside down. It's rather confusing, don't you?
You came right on the other side where people fall upside down.
Yes, that's very true.
But that's silly.
Well, it's rather curious. Although you can get used to it after a few times. You ought to give it a try. Have you seen any rabbit holes around here?
Any over here?
Yes.
I don't know.
No, I don't see any. We ought to find the white rabbit.
But if you found another one, you would go under it, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
And you're not afraid of anything, right?
Well, I try not to be. That's good advice, you know.
It would have to be that I got to meet all of those wolves.
All the wolves? Yeah, the wolves are pretty scary. It's a good thing that Beast was there to, kind of scare them off, right?
First time I got to see the kindness in his heart.
Oh, and it was so sweet when you were, wrapping up his wounds as well. He just wanted to bite it, but yeah. Just remember, if you stand still, it won't hurt as much.
Exactly. Perhaps you could help next time.
Well, I think that it's better to focus on being together with my family and, Olaf, well, he likes to have lots of ghost stories. He's really good at telling stories since he can rearrange his body.
Has Olaf told you a ghost story before?
Yes. What was that?
He's told you ghost stories before?
We like to gather around the campfire with frosted marshmallows and chocolate. Of course, reindeer s'mores for Sven, too.
So those are your Halloween traditions?
And of course, carving pumpkins to look like snowmen.
Happy Halloween!
Hello, I assume that you must be a very nice harvester.
So I was just wondering, what would you say was the scariest thing that happened during your story?
You know what?
Olaf's stories are my favorite.
I agree. I would say Olaf's stories. They are quite adventurous, I would say.
Happy Halloween!
Very
So I think I might know the answer, but what would you say was the scariest thing that happened during your story?
Oh my, well, I will say that I did have quite a spooky adventure one time. Oh, I was through the enchanted forest and it looked like all the trees had faces. Oh, it was quite silly thinking about it now. I was so embarrassed with the fuss I'd made. But I do see that none of the trees have faces today. Think if
Oh,
they
well, that's
did,
good.
Wouldn't they have smiles?
Oh my
Why, that's one of my favorite parts. My goodness, it's filled with sunshine today. That always makes everyone smile, right?
Yeah, well, even during the scary trees, I'm really glad that the animals came out and saved you.
Oh my, of course. Sometimes all it takes is a smile and a song.
Oh, that's right. The animals were a little scared to meet you for the first time, too,
I
but
suppose so. Just a bit bashful, but I think they warmed up to me in the
then, of course, they helped you clean the dishes, right?
Oh, yes. Why, I had to teach them not to sweep all of the dust underneath the rug, but I suppose when
not
it was
under
a
the
lot of
rug.
work, it goes by really quickly, right?
The scariest part of my story. I think the scariest part of my story was the first day of training.
The first day of
I
training?
was very nervous that, my fellow soldiers would catch on that I was in disguise. So I think it was it was very nerve-wracking to be around all the guys for the first time.
Especially when you met Shang, too. He must have been pretty intimidating,
I
right?
definitely was intimidated by Shang, but now he is my husband, and now we make a very good team.
But Yao didn't scare you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even when he said he was the king of the rock?
Yao is, although he seems tough, he is like a big panda bear. You just want to hug him. Yes.
I know you were a little frightened when you met Mushu for the first time as well. But then when he came behind the rock, he was really tiny,
Let's just say I was very surprised at Mushu's stature, but Mushu's travel size, which I really
Travel
appreciate.
size for your convenience.
He is travel size.
Well, then I slipped through that part.
You slept through that part?
Oh, yes, well, I was under a magic spell.
You're talking about the big dragon that, yeah.
Although Prince Philip and the fairies did tell me all about it. Sounds like it was rather exciting.
That was the scariest part, right?
Do you think so?
I definitely think
I
so.
wasn't there.
Especially when she was breathing the green fire
she breathed
and all the
green
thorns were
fire.
under the castle.
Why?
They didn't tell you about that
They
part?
told me about the fire, but they didn't say it was green.
Yeah, the fire was green and a whole bunch of thorns.
That's your favorite color?
I don't think Fauna did that,
I think
no.
Mona made the fire green instead of orange.
I was hoping she would extinguish the fire along with Prince Philip, but...
Well, you see, perhaps, do you think maybe she could put it out with green magic?
Magic?
That's what made it green.
It takes a lot of magic to overcome Maleficent's dark magic,
Oh,
so...
thank goodness that they did then, wasn't it? Well, with the help of Prince Philip and his enchanted sword.
Well, you know, I mean, I consider myself to be a pretty brave voyager. But I will say, it was definitely interesting meeting the Kakamora for the first time. Actually, would you like to hear a tip on how to handle the Kakamora?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, so you must have come here on a canoe, right? So you have an oar like me?
Not with me right now, no.
Okay, well, you'll need it when you're on the ocean. So the Kakamora, they're dressed like coconuts, right? And they also have these
Right.
darts. So, and they almost can fly on ropes. When they're on ropes, it kind of looks like they're flying. What you're gonna do is take your oar just like this. And when the Kakamora are about an arm's length distance away from you, you're gonna hold up your oar nice and strong and go Wakamora! And that'll send them flying right back to their canoe.
And it won't work
Yeah?
unless you say that, right?
Yeah, oh, of course. You have to say it all the time. Yeah? Awesome. Well, make sure you protect your village well, yeah? Amazing.
Hey, Peter.
I see you have Tinkerbell's shadow too.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, have you been?
So I was wondering, what would you say is the scariest part from your story?
Well,
Scariest thing that happened?
I'm not scared of anything. But Captain Hook, he's scared of the crocodile. Sometimes, suppose that can be scary for a pirate. Though growing up can be pretty scary. Or becoming a pirate. So maybe the time that when you tried to join the crew of the Jolly Roger.
Yeah, exactly. When you put your hat and your hat.
And I saved her. There wasn't even a splash. I bet you're not scared of anything either, though. You're just as brave as I am.
Well, I might be a little afraid when Tinkerbell's light goes out, but
You've got her shadow, so you'll never have to fly too far without
that
it.
is true, yeah.
You always let them fly by. You can push and get a portrait together.
Yeah, of course.
Right up here. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Wonderful.
Oh, sure.
Back up a little. There we go. Wonderful.
Well, Josh, I'm somebody. Best of luck on all your adventures. Later.
So I was just wondering, what do you think is the scariest thing that happened during your story?
Seriously. I would say maybe when Jafar turned into a big snake.
Yeah, definitely. I knew that was going to be the answer. It was when Jafar took a hold of the lamp, right?
Right.
No flounder can be such a guppy. Oh, he was very nervous when we saw a shark in the shipwreck.
Oh, the shark.
He's a very fast swimmer and he's much braver now. I'll tell him that you said hello and you were thinking of him.
I do remember the shark, yeah.
There's a lot of scary parts, isn't there? Maybe Mulan dreams about chasing cats. Not so good. Or when my glass slipper breaks.
That was a scary part, yeah.
So many chores that I have no time to go to the royal ball. Or maybe when my curse turns into a pumpkin and I have to walk all the way home.
Scariest part definitely had to be when you weren't able to get home in time for midnight, right?
It was a little scary, but it was quite fun. And I got to bond with my mice friends and Bruno.
It was all worth it, right?
It was all worth it. I lost track of time so easily.
Hey, Rapunzel.
Sunshine.
Only because it's a Halloween, I just wanted to ask, what do you think is the scariest thing that happened during your story?
Probably getting Eugene with the frying pan. Unfortunately, that did hurt his noggin quite a bit, but luckily we have had lots of other good times together, and we have started to like to make apple pies with the frying pan instead. Lots of different uses for it.
Apple pies? That's a great Halloween
Isn't that
treat.
right?
Yeah.
I think so as well. We were thinking we would add a little bit of extra cinnamon
hat this time. Eugene's idea.
Oh,
He
not-
is quite sweet for that.
Not too much.
Exactly, not
It might
too
make
much.
make Pascal sneeze.
I was going to say the same thing. Something of a swashbuckling rogue yourself. I could just
He's always
tell.
sneezing when you're brushing up the dust
It's
as well.
true. It happens with Maximus from time to time as well. I'll be sure to tell Eugene another swashbuckling rogue stop by. Why, thank you.
Well, the Bayou is a mighty interesting place to explore. There's lots of great friends that you can meet along the way, but there's also lots of challenges too. I was thankful I had some great friends to help me and to come along my adventures with me, and even the fireflies that helped guide the way too. It's always nice when you have a bright light with you.
That is true.
You'll find the fireflies to be a bright light along your adventures today too.
Fireflies?
Indeed.
I might need to ask the City of Owls where those are.
Maybe you can look for them in the evening sky. Between them and the fire and the evening star, you can always find your way. Thank you for stopping by today. Let me enjoy your adventure. Look for Evangeline and those fireflies.
Evangeline? She's the second star, right? Just like Peter Pan, right? Alright, my spooky viewers, that is going to be a wrap. There are only like a couple characters that I missed out on. Captain Jack Sparrow, Maribel. I didn't even know Jack Sparrow was meeting right now, but yeah, there were quite a few. There were quite a few friends that, came up with, a random scene and picked that as their answer, which is what I want them to do, or whatever like that, but a little bit into this, the villain, was the, obvious answer, with, a few of them that, kind of is, the only answer, but, and then there are other ones that, avoided the question altogether, but there are no wrong answers here on Ask the Disney Characters. Anyway, have a happy Halloween, even though you're probably watching this in November. Yeah.